Hello and welcome back to the SCW Wrestling Podcast. This is your limited edition pro wrestling show review, and I'm joined by another fantastic guest, my regular co-host, none other than John Joe Obrey. How are you this afternoon, John Joe?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. How are yourself?
Very, very well. It's been not a too bad day here. I think the weather could have been better, but hey ho, we are in England. I guess I shouldn't expect any more.
Yeah, we've had a few nice days, haven't we? It's about time we had a crap day, so...
Brilliant. Yeah, let's get into this. So coming off of another fantastic show, Film Edition Pro Wrestling, based out of Newton Abbot this time. What a great show. What was your initial thoughts of the show before we break it down?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too sure about it at first, because obviously going over to Newton Abbot and it being new territory, I wasn't entirely sure how well we do, but we did very, very well indeed, and it looks like we'll be going back to Newton Abbot, so that's promising.
No, that's definitely very, very promising. We'll go into this then. So the show opened up with a tag team title tournament match with none other than the King's Court, Jason King and Adam Flint, facing a brand new tag team, the Nature's Disasters, which was Cyclone Monsoon. I thought this was a really interesting opening match. I think, particularly Nature's Disasters, I think they really got on the crowd's nerves. You could tell that they really didn't like being in Newton Abbot. You could tell that quite easy, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, they were mean from the minute we met them to the minute they left. They didn't care about anyone else. They just they turned up, did what they had to do, which they gave a good showing, but not to put them down, but they haven't got the experience that the King's Court have got. Current PWA tag team champions. They're on a hot streak at the moment, and I think like I said, they gave a good showing. Definitely a tag team to watch out for in Nature's Disasters, Cyclone and Monsoon. But they couldn't get the job done against Jason King and Adam Flint, but it was good to see the King's Court in action at LEP together, because since
definitely.
We've been around, Jason and Adam haven't really teamed up. They only started to team up at PWA, and now, they're looking to be the most dominant tag team across the Southwest.
Yeah, no, definitely. A couple of highlights of the match. So the match obviously started, and the King's Court had terrible trouble trying to get Monsoon off of his feet. He's such a big fellow, Monsoon. I thought it was really intelligent and clever the way they finally got him down. They double teamed him, finally got him down. A couple of key highlights of the match. Adam Flint, some of the moves he was executing was just fantastic. Like, he came out with an enziguri, a Hurricane Rana, and there was a lovely Olympic slam by Jason King on one of them as well, which I thought looked fantastic, and I think sort of you could just tell sort of the damage that done. The way the match finished was really typical King's Court. I thought it was almost comedic, but I think it goes hand in hand. Just shows why they are one of the best tag teams in the Southwest currently. They managed to get a double pin on Monsoon, which I thought was really clever. They were just one of them wouldn't get the job done to two of them. What a good way to sort of start the show and advance in the tag team tournaments. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I thought the way it ended was classic King's Court. They using their double team finisher to their advantage. I found it to be, like I say, really, really hard hitting match. Adam Flint, he's on form at the moment. Jason King is Jason King. We can't really. There's never a time where he's not on form. So at the moment, and like I say, it was great for them to be together. They've now advanced into the tag team tournament. Hopefully we'll get to see Cyclone. I was just about to call him Cyclone. Cyclone and Monsoon. Hopefully we'll see them back at LEP. Not too sure whether they'll they want to come back or not, but you never know. May see them in LEP again. But King's Court have advanced into the next round of our tag team tournament.
Brilliant. Never say never in LEP. Match 2 then. This was a really highly anticipated match for the LEP Junior Academy title. It was Romney Rocco facing the new champion, the Phoenix, Shane Palmer. This match I was really looking forward to it. It was a really, really good technical war. Shane Palmer came out with such moves as a knee drop, a suplex, and Seguri. Roman Rocco fought back with implant DDT jawbreaker, which was a very nice variation, I have to say, very technical. And this match, Julie, was a really good match. What did you think of sort of what you saw so far at that point, up to that point?
Well, it shows, for that match, it shows how far the juniors have come along, you know. We had two of the best in the ring at that time, two of the best juniors. You know, there are other juniors that are just as good, but they're not at that age to be on the main shows. But we do have our LEP junior shows that we host at our academy. So anyone listening to this, have a look on the LEP page. It will say when we've got our next junior show. They're lots of fun, and you'll get to see how much the kids progress, and how well they're doing and how much time and effort they put in. But back to Shane Palmer and Romany Rocco. Romany Rocco obviously looking to regain his championship that he lost the month before to Shane Palmer, so it was a junior title rematch. Shane Palmer showing why he is the Phoenix Kid. He was absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, it was very technical for the age that they are. Yeah. They've got a lot of potential going forward, and you know their technical ability is outstanding. And the good thing about that match is they match each other.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know, so it was kind of back and forth. You didn't really know who was going to win.
Basically, what happened towards the end of the match as well? Yeah, clearly, going back to your last point as well. Yeah, you never knew who's going to win. It was questionable. It was in the balance all the time. But going towards the end of the match, somehow or another, the referee got distracted. I don't know really what happened. We seem to have a running theme with that with AP, where referees are not doing what they should be, and none other than a masked figure came out. I've never seen this person before, and attacked Romany Rocco, which really are big questions. Really, like is this Dead Man's Hand maybe target the junior academy, or what did you think of the way that the match ended? It was a travesty that a masked figure pretty much ruined this classic. If that makes sense, I thought both competitors could have won it on their own merit. They didn't need really somebody that's probably nothing to do with this division and interfering. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, it was a great match from start, I would say almost to finish. But like you said, we had this masked figure. I couldn't work out who it was. It was definitely, the thing is, they weren't big enough to be an adult, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You know, they weren't any other size. I was ringside, so I was MC, and I could see everything. I could see it as soon as they came through, and I was like, "That bloody hell's this?" You know. And I'm trying to rack my brains. The one thing I will say that I noticed is there was no infamous Dead Man's Hand mask. I will say that there was no mask, and I know, like, from seeing footage from being out there, that they all tend to wear this certain mask.
Yeah.
But there was no mask on this person.
Yeah, very, very, very strange. I have to say, I think clearly it ruined the classic. And the strange thing about it is they sort out Romany Rocco for some reason, which is just really, really odd. Whoever they are, very strange. Shane Palmer did pick up the win. I think I question it though. I think these two have to have another rematch. I don't think the finish gave any credit to either wrestler. And whoever this masked person is, there's a reason they're going to be hiding behind a mask. Hopefully, in the next few shows, we might find that out. But no, what do you make of this? It's a bit cowardice, isn't it? Just going behind a mask and then sort of interfering. Clearly, they've got a grudge against Romany Rocco, I believe.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't tend to go down to the junior training or anything like that, so I don't really know if there's been any beef between Romany and anyone else, you know, that are training, or This is why it's so mysterious, and why none of us can really work out what the hell happened, because usually we're quite good at telling who people are, and you know, we're like, but this person came to the ring. I had a bandana up to the eyes and the hood down to the top of it, so we could really only see the eyes. You know, you can't really tell much from that. Like I said, short enough to be a junior wrestler, so I hope it's a junior wrestler, because if it's not and it's an adult, then that really does take the mick. An adult should not be out there during a junior show. So if it does turn out to be an adult that attacked Romany Rocco and cost him the match, there will be consequences. I personally agree with you that LEP management, if I was doing this now, I would call it and I would say, look, there needs to be a rematch. It didn't end fairly. But that's not up to me. So hopefully LEP management will hear this, will listen to other people as well, and give Romany Rocco the rematch he deserves.
Yeah, definitely. We're now going to go on to match 3, which was none other than Dead Man's Hand Draven and the reject Blake Harrison versus Reggie Ryan. Obviously, the Academy champion Blake Harrison as well. So this was a really, really good match. Clearly, when Draven came out with Blake Harrison, you could just tell these guys, they're not the same people we first saw in LEP. I don't know what's been said or whatever instruction they're under. They're going for a mission, basically. What did you make sort of the way they came out and sort of the mindset they're in? They hate the fans. At any point, I thought they could have attacked anybody, really.
Well, yeah, they're. I will say, looking at them and everything, that, like you said, they seem to have changed. I don't know whether they've been brainwashed. I don't know what goes on within Dead Man's Hand. The only time we see them is when they turn up at the arena. So we don't really know what's going on behind closed doors and what's being said to them, what's being fed to them. Yeah. Information wise, so yeah, they're definitely even Draven, even though Draven was weird when we first met him, weird and a bit creepy.
Yeah.
Even he seems to have gone on a bit of a darker path.
Yeah.
Since joining up with Dead Man's Hand, and that's strange because Draven was dark anyway when he faced. Well, I wouldn't say dark. I would say Draven was more weird.
Yeah.
When he came out and challenged Jason King the first time we saw him, it was very strange. I couldn't really get my head around him, but now he seems to have gone a bit darker, a bit more vicious. So. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but something's not quite right there, is it?
Definitely. A couple of key highlights in the match. So Blake Harrison, the reject, basically destroyed a firm shirt, which I thought was really cheeky and I thought sort of outrageous, really. Clearly, you could tell the hatred between Reggie Ryan and the reject Blake Harrison. That clearly they've got an up-and-coming match. You could tell there was real pressure here. And a couple of other highlights. Draven, during the start of the match, was hanging upside down for ages. The guy looked like he lost his mind. A couple of key parts of the match where it looked like there was some dissension between Blake and Draven. I don't know whether they both weren't on the same page, so to speak, or whether it wasn't what they wanted, but I thought during the start it was a massive row almost. I thought these two could have turned on each other. What did you make? Do you think there's some sort of dissension within sort of Dead Man's Hand? But hopefully, maybe, that'd be good for LEP if that's the case.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed there is. I will say that because then, that saves us half the job of trying to get rid of them, So hopefully there is. I mean, like you said, it was getting a bit heated between Draven and the reject. Whether, I don't know whether like Blake had been given instructions to, control Draven and Draven wasn't listening or Draven just... I don't know. All I know is from what I could see is, like you said, there was an argument. But saying that, Blake still seemed to help Draven out during that match as his manager. So, yeah, it's a little tough to call. I don't really want to call anything just yet, but hopefully it was an argument between the two and there is dissension in Dead Man's Hand. Let's hope.
We can only hope. So a couple of highlights in the match. Reggie Ryan did a fantastic flip onto both the reject and Draven, which I thought was really fantastic. Draven was able to execute his camel clutch, which I thought was looked quite deadly. The way the match ended was Draven somehow never got the win. He beat Reggie Ryan thanks to Blake Harrison's interference, and I thought it was a real cheap way to win. Reggie Ryan did get some momentum back though. He did execute his coast to coast and clear the win of both men. What did you make of the way the match ended and the outcome after the revenge Reggie Ryan got?
Well, again, I mean, it turned out like the second match. It was a good match, and then there was interference, and it keeps happening a hell of a lot. Even without Dead Man's Hand, there's interference. People just like to interfere, and I don't understand it. Why can't you just leave it to be, to the guys that are in the ring? But yeah, I think, like you said, that outside dive or senton over the top rope was amazing. I've never seen Reggie do that before, so that was really good to see. Unfortunately, he didn't get the win. Draven's camel clutch looked really, really good. Once it was locked in, you could see Reggie, writhing in pain. So that again, I haven't seen Draven do that before.
Yeah.
So that was good to see. But yeah, it was the interference at the end. It shouldn't have happened. But it shows that maybe Dead Man's Hand, especially Blake, are starting to get a little scared, a little nervous now that Vinny is starting to rebuild the firm. And maybe, no, I'm not going to say maybe. I'm going to say I reckon Blake is a little scared of Reggie Ryan.
Definitely.
Why would he need to do this? He's got a match coming up with him, and all of a sudden he's out there making sure
Draven gets the win, basically. Similar. It was very similar to the time when Draven beat down Jason Kidd almost. I think I sort of got the feeling Draven was in this match solely to try to put Reggie Ryan out of this title match, and the animosity between Reggie Ryan and Blake, you could just tell. I'm really looking forward to seeing this match at the next show on 23rd July at the Windmill Centre. I think it's going to be a fantastic classic. I just hope that it's a one-on-one match and we don't have 5 on 2 or however many on numerous people on one person. I really hope they're just left to do it, and the best man that wins. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's going to be a fair match, or do you reckon it's going to be it's going to be how all the other Academy title matches have gone, basically, where his title's in jeopardy, where he's had to have help?
Well, I hope that there's no interference. That would be nice to actually have a title match with no interference whatsoever. Saying that, when Blake last defended his Academy title, was it against
Jason King?
Jason King, that was it. So there was no interference there. Okay, Draven wore down
Jason King.
Jason the previous week, month, or whatever. And yeah, it seems that there could it's hard to say. I'm hoping there's no interference. I really am hoping that they're left to do it, and that Reggie can get the title back for us. I pray that Reggie can get that title back for LEP. However, knowing Blake, knowing Dead Man's Hands, they'll have something. They'll have a backup plan somewhere.
Yeah, clearly they don't want to lose the first title they've inherited so far. We're now going to go into match 4, which was another tag team tournament match, and it was none other than Johnny Sicko and Dave Fury facing none other than a brand new tag team to LEP. They were called The Fellowship, Chris and Cade. What did you make of this match before we break it down?
Yeah, I mean, I will say I didn't get to see much of that match because there were a few things happening backstage, technical issues and stuff that I had to go and sort out. From what I did see of it, a good showing from Chris and Cade, The Fellowship. As always, Johnny Sicko and Dave Fury, 2 very experienced wrestlers that are absolutely phenomenal in the ring from what I saw.
Yeah.
But I will be honest, George, you may have to cover this match for me because I didn't get to see much of it at all.
So let's go into the match then. So a couple of key things. Dynamite Dave Fury came out with Johnny Sicko. Once again, he was charging the crowd. Whatever's been said recently, I think he's clearly sort of determined to do something. A couple of highlights of the match was the Fellowship were on the ropes posing to the crowd. Johnny Sicko crept up behind and kneed one of them in the back. Once again, we saw Johnny Sicko bite Chris's fingers, and that was really devastating to see. It was really horrible. Dynamite Dave executed a fantastic slam, and also there was one of the moves of the night, definitely. Dynamite Dave Fury came out of a twisting suplex. It was that brutal that you could see you could see Chris's head in the mat. You could just see there was no way of him coming out with this without being injured because it was that much of a brutal move. You can tell sort of the tenacity and the intensity of these guys to win the tag team titles. And there was also another fantastic move. Dynamite Dave Fury executed a spear. This match was a classic, and the way they won was after the spear. So it's advancing is Johnny Sicko and Dynamite David Fury. These guys have got to be up there with my pick for the tag team tournament so far. What do you reckon?
Yeah, they could take this. There's phenomenal form even before the tag team tournament. You know, they were teaming, and yeah, absolutely phenomenal. The thing is, these 2 guys know each other. I don't know whether you knew. I believe I might be wrong. Not sure. So, but from what I've heard. quite a number of years ago, Johnny Sicko was actually Dave Fury's manager.
Yeah, I've heard
so
that. Yeah.
they've got chemistry already, and yeah, they're on a fantastic roll. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were going to be the next LEP tag team champions.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. We're now going into one of the most anticipated matches in LEP history. It was Vinny Clay versus Jago. So following the betrayal of the Super Show, this is a match that the whole company had been waiting for, the wrestlers and the fans. And you knew it was going to be a war. So Jago came out. He came out. This just shows you how much in control I think Dead Man's Hand are to a certain degree. Every other wrestler in the show, even Blake, had come out from the main entrance. Jago came up from up the stairs from nowhere, literally came down to the ring. They seem to be able to come and go as they want, and he came out. The amount of boos and stuff he got from the crowd, he's one of the most hated people in New Edition Pro Wrestling now, unfortunately. And you can tell when Vinny Clay came out, he was hearing. But this match didn't start particularly well. Both wrestlers just went for it, basically. They were totally out of control. Vinny Clay did execute a drop kick. Jago threw Vinny Clay right into the side of the ring, and eventually the referee couldn't control it, so it ended up being a double DQ. They couldn't even really start the match because of these wrestlers hating each other. What did you make of the match and sort of the entrance and all the other stuff that took part during it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I don't know why I say surprised. Maybe I was surprised because for some reason the rest of Dead Man's Hand came from the entranceway. But Jago, we hadn't seen Jago all day. We hadn't seen him anywhere, so we didn't even know if this match was going to go ahead. But music hit, and he came down to the ring from the top of the crowd. So, and like you said, it started off where they just went hell for leather. There were punches being thrown, kicks, punch, went to the outside. They were brawling on the outside. And yeah, you're right, the referee just could not control it any longer. So he looked over at me, called for the bell, still couldn't split them up. 30 seconds after the match, still couldn't split them up. So something had to be done. So me and the referee, we literally, while he was there trying to break them up, we had to do something. So I had to shout for anyone who was available, any wrestlers to come out from the back. Didn't matter who they were, we just needed bodies out there. Luckily, quite a few of the roster came out. Took a while to separate them. Eventually, we got them separated, and I took it upon myself, which I've been told was a really great idea. But I took it upon myself, and I was given authority as well at the start of the night that if anything happened, I'd be able to make some decisions. So I took it upon myself to, once they were split up, once they were separated, I told them that July 23rd, they at the Windmill Centre Torquay, they are going to settle it one-on-one, and it will be one-on-one. I really want to make sure it's one-on-one. Hardcore match between Jago and Vinny Clay to settle it once and for all. We need to settle this. I personally thought it was going to be settled in Newton Abbot, but I was wrong.
We definitely settled this.
Fingers crossed we can get this sorted and it can be settled once and for all at the Windmill Centre, July 23rd.
I think so. I'm just slightly concerned by Dead Man's Hands. I don't want to give them a platform, but their latest status base indicates that they've become stronger, they're going to become more violent, and basically it'll be the end of Vinny Clay, so to speak. So it concerns me, they say they've become stronger and been violent. I don't see them letting this match go one-on-one. I think, unfortunately, Vinny Clay will need some sort of help. I really hope that he's got something sorted, because I think this fits right into Dead Man's Hands' way. They can sort of do what they want and get away with it. And Vinny Clay, hopefully, will have something lined up. But this is going to be a classic, isn't it? What do you think? Do you think Vinny Clay should be worried about the threats that are taking place so far?
I don't think he should be worried, because Vinny can. We know Vinny can handle himself. He can handle his own. He's been in a lot of bad situations that are going to go against him, but he's always come through. So I reckon, I reckon Vinny, Dead Man's Hand could show up, but I am really hoping this time, because this is a shout out. This is me. This is John Joe now talking to the rest of the LEP roster. If Dead Man's Hand, and I know you're all going to be listening to this, so if Dead Man's Hand show up, if they try to interfere in this hardcore match, remember, it's no disqualification. Get your asses out there, help Vinny and help LEP. This is what's needed from you guys. None of you are doing it so far. I know everyone's nervous. I know everyone's worried and scared of Dead Man's Hand, but we need to be united. We need to help Vinny. Vinny might have this on his own. I might be wrong. Vinny might be able to do this on his own. But with it being no disqualification, interference, it is more than likely going to happen. So I'm shouting out to all you guys now. If it happens, if Dead Man's Hands show up, we are stand united. We get out there. We make sure that this match is 1-on-1.
Yeah, well said. So July 23rd, this is going to be a classic. Really can't wait for that. So really looking forward to that. We then went on to our main event of the night, which is a triple threat match. Leo Bryan versus Danny Walsh and Gaz Norks. For me, mate, I've got one word. Fantastic. This by far was the best match of the year for me. I think there were so many positives, and you could tell why it was the main event. I think all three wrestlers excelled. It was just such a fantastic match. Well, what's your thoughts of the match before we break it down?
Oh, absolutely phenomenal. You know, once again, these are guys that know each other inside out, and they've known. I mean, I will say, Danny and Gaz Norks have known each other for years and years and years. They grew up together, so they know each other inside out. Leo Bryan, they've all wrestled together. You know, they've all been on the same shows in the same companies, wrestling each other, teaming with each other. Either way, these guys know each other like the back of their hands, and that's why this match was perfect. It was a 5-star match, and it was main event worthy. Gaz Norks, powerhouse. Absolute. I don't know why he is not in the heavyweight title picture yet. I really don't know why. Because he is phenomenal. He has come back bigger and badder. So he needs a massive push. Along with Leo Bryan, he's come back. He has not missed a beat. He can still moonsault. He can still flip. He can still Hurricane Rana. He can still do all this stuff. Absolutely amazing. And then there's Danny. You know, there's Danny, one of the most professional guys I've ever met. Loves this business. A phenomenal wrestler. So for these three to be in a match, we knew it was going to be magic, and boy, was it magic.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the highlights of the match, Leo Bryan did a fantastic twisted flip right outside to Danny and Gaz Norks. That was just
it was also like a cork. Yeah, it was like a corkscrew moonsault, wasn't it? Something like that.
Definitely. And Gaz Norks delivered a rather devastating chokeslam onto Danny. It was a miracle somehow he kicked out. Leo Bryan also executed a TKO onto Gaz Norks for a near fall. Danny Walsh executed one of the most devastating stomach busters I've seen. I just looked on and thought, wow, that must have really hurt. And then you're looking at sort of Gaz Norks executed another fantastic move, which was a spear for the near fall. There was the biggest highlight, though. I think this is definitely one of the biggest moments, or I would say moves of the year, was the three-way fin they set up. It was almost like a Tower of Doom. The best way to describe it was basically Danny had somebody on his shoulders. I think it was Gaz Norks, and Lee Bryan on top, and it was basically a slam powerbomb, flip over slam powerbomb. You could just see it was like a sunset flip into a powerbomb.
It's hard to explain that one. I mean, if people, almost like a Tower of Doom. So if you can imagine, for anyone listening doesn't know what a Tower of Doom is or anything like that, but if you can imagine Legion of Doom, and if you can imagine, I believe now, was it Hawk that would hoist them up onto the shoulders?
It was Animal that would do the shot. I think it was either Animal or Hawk. One of them would be on the shoulders, and they would just sit there, wouldn't they, waiting for him to come off the ropes, basically. Yeah.
So I think Danny was hoping to hit Gaz with an electric chair drop or some form of move like that. He turns, and then the next thing you know, you've got Leo Bryan doing a beautiful flip over the top of Gaz, but grabbing him enough. I think it's called an overdrive. It's one of those flip neck breakers.
Yeah. And
it sent each of them flying and crashing to the ground. And I'll tell you what, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. Absolutely phenomenal.
Speechless I was after that. And another key highlight of it, Danny Walsh executed the pedigree on Lee for another near fall. Gaz Norks delivered one of the most lethal F5s you're ever going to see, really. It literally took Danny halfway across the ring. And the way the match ended, Leo Bryan executed a fantastic moonsault and somehow got the pin for Danny Walsh. So a massive win for Leo Bryan. And I really hope we see all these three wrestlers in another sort of match again, because clearly triple threats with Gaz Norks and Leo Bryan are just a different level so far. We've had two this year, and one with the British Thug Scott Johns, and now one with Danny Walsh, and they've been stellar. They've been so good.
Yeah. I got to admit, it just seems like when Gaznorks and Lee O'Brien step into the ring, it is just magic. You know, it doesn't matter who they work with. But yeah, this is that was a massive win for Lee O'Brien. I'm hoping that they're going to push him up into the heavyweight title picture as well. And it looks like that if they do, Luke Phoenix has got a lot of competition on his hands and a lot of good, strong competition.
Yeah, definitely. We're now going to go into your next show. So July 23rd at the Windmill Centre, it'll be the next LEP show. And obviously 2 matches that have been announced so far are Reggie Ryan versus Blake the Reject Harrison for the Academy title, Vinny versus Jago, as you said earlier, and Ruthless Ruth Jackson versus Adira. Any thoughts of these upcoming matches before we end the show tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, so far, 3 matches announced. So we've got, like you said, Vinny and Jago in a hardcore match. We've got Adira and Ruth Jackson, and we have got Blake and Reggie for the Academy title. So you stack those matches up. That's a reason to buy your flipping tickets. You know, that is a reason to get your tickets now. You know, because we are selling real fast. We've got two weeks left, I think, just over 2 weeks left. And we are close to selling out once again. And I said at Newton Abbott, and I'm going to say it on here, I guarantee you we will sell out at the Windmill Centre. Guaranteed. These 3 matches we've been really looking forward to. Now, we've got Adira, the returning Adira, versus Ruthless Ruth Jackson. So that match in itself, we have good, clean violence versus ruthless aggression. This is going to be violent. There is a reason we are calling this LEP Fight Club, because that's exactly what these matches are going to be. It is just going to be a pure, straight up fight.
Brilliant. Is there anything else you want to sort of say before we wrap up the review tonight?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, we've got some fantastic matches coming up. So July 23rd, will Reggie Ryan beat Blake Harrison? Fingers crossed we get that LEP Academy title. I'm praying. So Reggie, you'll probably be listening to this. Take that title from the Weasel.
Definitely.
Please take him. Take that title from that little Weasel and bring it home. That's what we need. And Vinny, I know you're going to be listening too. It's your time to take out Jago. These 2 matches, if we can conquer Dead Man's Hand in these 2 matches, going forward, we are in a very, very good position, and that means we would have weakened them, and we'll be looking strong. We will be going forward stronger than ever, and looking to take the rest of Dead Man's Hand out and ridding them from LEP for good.
Yeah, I've got sort of one last thing to add. I think we've got a real chance in LEP to get rid of Dead Man's Hand. Clearly the so-called Puppet Master, or aka the Master of Shadows he wants to be known, hasn't been seen for a while. I think that's positive. I think whenever he's not around, LEP have got a real good chance. Clearly the last 2 shows he's been missing, so clearly if he's not there, when he's not there, as I said previously, things seem to go well for LEP. So let's hope that we can make this a hat-trick, and LEP come out with the right wins and further get rid of Dead Man's Hand. We can all hope for that. What do you reckon?
That is exactly it, mate. At the end of the day, when it like you said, everyone's starting to notice it. When the Master of Shadows, or whatever he wants to be called now, when he's not there, things fall apart, and that is great for us. So if anyone from Dead Man's Hand are listening, especially you, Master of Puppet, whatever, don't come to July 23rd at the Windmill Centre. Do not turn up. Please, do not turn up. Because if you do, then we lose. Stay where you are. Please stay where you are. Because we want to win. Obviously, we need to get rid of your sorry asses. So stay where you are. Please.
Brilliant. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for coming on the show, John Joe. We'll definitely have to do a review of this event next month.
Yeah, we're going to do this every month. I mean, I know we should really be doing it a few days after the show, but we're guys who are very, very busy. You know, George, he's busy doing his thing and working, family life. Same with me. I'm busy, so we will always bring you a review of our last show each month. We will always bring you a review. So while you're listening to this, we are at Brixham happening, which is going to be fantastic. It's a great little, it's sort of like a fair, a little mini festival kind of thing over in Brixham. Great family day out. We will be there. We've 2 parts. We start, I believe, at 1:30. Our second part will then start again at 3:30. But check Brixham Happening events page for that. We will be listed on there. Then it's July 23rd. LEP Fight Club. Get your tickets now.
Definitely.
Really, seriously, get your tickets now because we are selling fast and we are hot at the moment. So please, we've got 3 matches announced, 3 big matches that you do not want to miss. So please get your tickets now. July 23rd, Windmill Centre Torquay, LEP Fight Club.
Perfect. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your time, John Joe. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.